Hey everyone! Welcome back to the RPG Framework tutorial series. Today, we're diving into one of the most versatile and powerful mechanics for any RPG, setting up dual-hand abilities and weapon-based abilities. Imagine the flexibility of wielding different combinations like a sword and shield, dual swords, or even a unique setup like a sword in one hand and an axe in the other, each with its own abilities. We'll be using the Unreal Engine gameplay ability system to link these abilities directly to the weapons, making combat more dynamic and customizable. If you've ever wanted to build a versatile weapon system like the ones in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're in the right place. Let's jump in and start creating. First, create new class of type actor. Name it RPG Weapon. Go to Header File and create 3 properties of type subclass of view, gameplay ability. Name them Light Attack Ability, Heavy Attack Ability, and Secondary Attack Ability. For this to work, we need to include gameplay ability. Make sure that last include statement is RPG weapon.generated. Now open RPG character header file. Create new integer enum. Name it E ability slot. Add 3 members to it, Light Attack, Heavy Attack, and Secondary Attack. Create one more enum. Name it E weapon slot. Add 2 members to it, right hand and left hand. Go to Protected section. Add new property of type map. For key type use ability slot enum, for value type use F, gameplay ability spec handle. Name it slot ability handles. Go to the end of the file. Create new protected section. Here we will add some helper functions. First one we will use to clear ability from provided slot. Second one for assigning ability to slot. Third and fourth for equipping weapons to hands. Now let's implement these functions. Start from clear ability slot. Here we need to check if slot ability handles map contains provided K. If yes, we will remove this ability from gameplay ability system owned by character. Next function is add ability to slot. Here I forgot to add one more parameter. We need to pass in gameplay ability which we would like to add to slot. In the implementation, first check if ability system component is valid. If yes, use it to grant provided ability. At the end, check if new ability handle is valid. If yes, add it to slot ability handles map. Next function is equip right hand. First, check if ability system and provided weapon are valid. If yes, use previous two functions to clear and add abilities to light and heavy attack sockets. Light and heavy abilities we will get from provided weapon. This will ensure that light and heavy abilities are driven by weapon equipped in right hand. For equip left hand function we should do the same thing. This time we will set secondary ability slot. Now go back to RPG character header file. Find public section. Here we will add 2 blueprint callable functions. One for equipping weapon to weapon slot. Another one for activating ability by slot. In the implementation of equip weapon, we should use provided weapon slot to switch between equip right hand and equip left hand functions we created before. In the implementation of activate ability by slot, use provided slot to find ability handle in slot ability handles map. If found, use it to activate ability. One more thing we can do is to make function activate melee ability deprecated. This will help us find all the places in blueprints where we are using it and replace with activate ability by slot. That should be all regarding C++. Go to Unreal Editor and compile code. After it is done, go to Blueprints folder. Create new blueprint of type RPG weapon. Name it RPG Weapon Base. We will create all weapons as child blueprints of it. In one of the previous tutorials we created sword and shield blueprints. Now we will reparent them to inherit new weapon base blueprint. First do this for sword blueprint. After changing its parent, we now have this 3 abilities on sword blueprint. For light attack, select sword and shield attack ability. Now go to character base blueprint. Find do melee attack function. Here we can see deprecation warning on activate melee ability function. Replace it with new activate ability by slot function. For slot, leave light attack. Now open player blueprint. Find equip weapons function. We will refactor this function soon, but for now just call equip weapon function at the end of it. Pass in melee weapon to weapon pin. Leave right hand for slot. Now play and test this. Player should be able to do melee attack like before. Now we will refactor block ability activation. First, go to shield blueprint. Change its parent to RPG weapon base. Here we will leave light and heavy attack abilities empty. For secondary ability, select sword and shield block ability. Now go to player blueprint. In the equip weapons function, find the node where we attached shield to skeletal mesh. Call equip weapon after it. Pass shield to weapon pin. For equip slot, select left hand. Now go to the event graph. Find block input event. Replace activate ability by tag with activate ability by slot function. For slot, select secondary ability. Now click on Class Defaults. Search for Test Abilities. Remove Block Ability from this list. Now Block Ability should be inherited from the equipped shield in left hand. Play it and test. Shield ability is activated and it works like before. Now we will create heavy attack ability and assign it to sword. Go to Sword and Shield Animations folder. We will use Sword and Shield Attack 2 animation for heavy attack. Right-click on it and create montage. Name it A.M. Sword and Shield Heavy Attack. Open it and add weapon trace anim notify state to it. This will ensure that we can deal damage during heavy attack. Go to Melee Abilities folder. Duplicate Sword and Shield Attack ability. Rename it to G.A. Sword and Shield Heavy Attack. Replace anim montage with one we have just created. I will leave all other properties. You can create separate damage and cost effects in order to deal more damage and consume more stamina when doing heavy attack. Now go to Warrior Interface. Find Do Melee Attack function. Add one input parameter to it of type Boolean. Name it Do Heavy Attack. Go to Character Base. Find Do Melee Attack function. We should use this new parameter Do select appropriate ability slot to activate. Now go to Inputs folder. Add new input action. Name it IA Action Modifier. We will use it for keyboard mapping context, since it is common that heavy attacks are performed with left mouse button while holding Shift key. Open Default Mapping Context. Assign Shift key to Action Modifier Input Action. Keep in mind that we are using Shift key for toggle between walk and run. We will modify it by adding one trigger of type tap. This will ensure that toggle between walk and run will be triggered when Shift key is tapped, not when hold down. Add one more input action. Name it IA Heavy Attack. Go to Mapping Context and assign left mouse button to Heavy Attack input. Then add one trigger of type Chord Action. For action, select Action Modifier. This will distinguish between light and heavy attack inputs. Now go to Player Blueprint. Find empty space in Event Graph. search for heavy attack input action and call do melee attack with heavy attack checked on input started. Now go to Sword Blueprint. For heavy ability select Sword and Shield heavy ability we created before. Play and test. Now our player can do both, light and heavy attacks. Now go to Player Blueprint. Find Equip Weapons function. We will finally refactor it and make pull it to character base. First, go to character base. Add new variable. Name it Weapons. For type select Map. For key type select Weapon slot enum. For value type select BP, Weapon Base Class Reference. Now go back to Equip Weapons function in Player Blueprint. Move it to Parent Class. It cannot compile now because of skeletal mesh reference. First, we need to fix it. Create new function. Name it Get Skeletal Mesh. This function should return mesh component. Make it pure. Now go to Equip Weapons function and replace Skeletal Mesh node with Get Skeletal Mesh function. Go to Player Blueprint. Override Get Skeletal Mesh function. In Player Blueprint, this function should return skeletal mesh component. Go back to Equip Weapons function. We need to refactor it to attach weapons from Weapons Map variable and grant abilities. We will iterate trough weapons map key spawning weapon actor and attaching it to skeletal mesh. Here need to make this socket name dynamic. We will move it to weapon base blueprint. At the end we should set melee weapon and his armed variables when equipped weapon is attached to right arm. Also, make sure to update equip weapon function in C++. It should return true at the end. Now we need to populate armed socket variable and sword and shield blueprints. Go to appropriate skeletal mesh to copy socket names and paste it to sword and shield blueprints. Now go to player blueprint and add weapons to left and right hand. Let's play and test this. As we can see, weapons are attached to correct sockets, but attack and block abilities cannot be invoked. Problem is an equip weapons function. Here we forgot to assign value to melee weapon. But to be able to do this, first we need to change type of melee weapon variable from BP sword to BP weapon base. Now we cannot compile character base blueprint because weapon base doesn't have start and end components like sword blueprint. So we need to pull these components to parent blueprint. After we made changes to weapon base blueprint, we should remove components from child blueprints and left only those inherited from weapon base. Now fix this references in event weapon trace in character base blueprint. Finally, go to Equip Weapons function and assign value to melee weapon. Play and test it. Now character can attack, but there is some movement applied to it. This is because of collision with weapon mesh. To fix this, go to weapon base and disable collision for static mesh component. Now it should be fixed. One more thing that is wrong in Equip Weapons function is that we are calling Equip Weapon function only to equip right-hand weapon. Let's fix this. We should first call Equip Weapon function and then check if it is right-hand socket and set melee weapon and his armed variables. Now everything should work correctly. Let's refactor enemy blueprint to use this function for equip weapon from parent class. Go to enemy blueprint and delete this nodes we have used to attach sword. Now go back to character base. Find begin play event. Call equip weapons at the end of it. Also, go to player blueprint and remove equip weapons from event begin play since we already call it in character base. Go back to enemy blueprint. Add sword and shield to right and left hand sockets. Also, make sure to override get skeletal mesh function to return skeletal mesh component. Now let's play this. As we can see, both player and enemy can attack now. We successfully refactored attack and block abilities invocation and assignment. One thing you can notice is that when enemy is attacking it slows time like player does. It is because now player and enemy are using the same attack ability that is granted to them by sword blueprint. And this ability uses montage with slow motion anim notifies. There are a few ways to fix this, but I'll show the simplest one. As we can see in slow motion notify, time will be slowed down only if this function, get can do slow motion returns true. This function is inherited Trough Warrior interface. Let's disable this on one place for all NPC characters. Go to NPC Blueprint and override it to always return false. And that's it. Now player is the only character that is able to slow down time. Now it's time to add new weapon. We will add axe and configure it to be used in either right or left hand, just like we have in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. First, duplicate sword blueprint. Rename it to BP Axe. Open it. Replace sword mesh with axe. Here we can see that axe is pointed in opposite direction than sword. Rotate it. Also, you can adjust start and end points used for weapon trace. Now go to player blueprint and replace right hand weapon. set it to Axe. As we can see, Axe is not rotated correctly. Let's fix this by adding separate socket for Axe to our skeleton. You can play with better positioning of the socket here. But one thing you should record it that the name of the socket is Axe R socket. Now go back to Axe Blueprint. Paste socket name we have just created. Also make sure to revert rotation from static mesh we added before. Again, you should rearrange start and end points. Let's play now. Axe position is now better. Also, player is able to use light and heavy attacks, the same like for sword. Block ability can be activated too. If you want, you can create different abilities for Axe. Only thing you need to do is to assign them here. I'll not do this now. I would like to show you how to add Axe to left hand and perform attacks similar to this one from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. First, create Axe socket for left hand. Name it Axe L socket. Adjust its position and rotation. Then open Character Base Blueprint. Find Function Equip Weapons. Here we need to adjust how we are fetching socket name to attach weapon. Create new function. Name it Get Weapon Socket Name. Add one input parameter of type weapon slot. Name it weapon socket. Add another input parameter of type name. Name it socket name. Add output parameter of type name. Name it socket. Here we will format provided socket name value using weapon slot parameter. This will help us to dynamically decide in which socket to attach weapon, left or right hand, based on weapon socket type. Go back to Equip Weapons function. Replace this arm socket node with function we just created. Go to the Axe blueprint. Update arm socket value. Replace this letter R with parameter placeholder. Now let's test this. Axe is still in right hand as we expected. Let's test for left hand. Go to player blueprint and add axe to left hand socket. For right hand socket you can select sword. As we can see, now our player has both weapons equipped. Since axe is in left hand instead of shield, player lose block ability. But instead of block ability we will add ability to attack with left hand too. For this purpose we will need new animation. Go to Mixamo webpage. Search for axe combo animations. Download one of your choice. I'll select this one. Now you need to import it to Unreal Engine and retarget it to Fortnite Mannequin. Detailed steps how to do this I have covered in one of the previous tutorial. You can find link in the description. Once you finish with retargeting you should have animation ready for Fortnite Mannequin like this. One thing you can notice is that animation is created for axe that is in right hand. But we need animation for left hand. Luckily, there is a way how to mirror this animation in Unreal Engine. Let's do this. First, create new level sequencer. Double-click on it. You should see sequencer window like this. Open Content Browser and find Fortnite Skeletal Mesh. Drag it to the level sequencer. It will spawn skeletal mesh at the origin of your map. Now add your axe compo animation to the sequencer. First, make sure to align sequencer end with the end of the animation track. Now go to the rigs folder. Create mirror data table. For skeleton, select Fortnite skeleton. Leave all settings as they are. Just make sure that mirror axe is set to X. Now go back to level sequencer. Right-click on animation track. Click on properties and find mirror data table option. Select one we created. Now if you play the sequence, you can see that animation is flipped. To export it, right-click on skeletal mesh and select Bake Animation Sequence. Select the destination and change animation name as you wish. When exporting, just ensure that you reset all settings to default. And that's it. You can close sequencer window. We created the animation for left hand. Now create montage from it. You can add weapon trace notifies to it. I'll not do this now. Go to the melee abilities folder. Create new blueprint of type gameplay ability. Name it G.A. Axe Secondary Attack. Open it. Implement Activate Ability Event. First, make a call to commit ability function. Then play anim montage using skeletal mesh from Get Actor Info function. For the montage, select one we just created. Make sure to call end ability function when montage is completed or interrupted. Now go to the axe blueprint and add this ability to secondary ability slot. Let's test this. Now when you press block button, you will activate secondary axe attack. One thing I forgot is to enable root motion for this new animation. Now is better. Now player can control both hands separately. Let's add one more thing like we have in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is that secondary attack is executing when you press and hold input button. When you release it, attack combo stops. We have already created something similar for block ability. Let's use the same gameplay event like for block. Here, on event received, we need to stop playing current anim montage. And that's it. Now you need to hold block input to perform secondary attack with your left-hand weapon. This ability can be improved by adding damage and cost effects. Also, montage blend out time can be adjusted better. But I'll stop the tutorial now since it is really long so far. I hope that I give you the idea how you can move forward with this topic. Also, you can now play with different weapon combinations equipped by your player. For example, you can equip 2 axes. That wraps up our dive into dual hand and weapon-based abilities. Now, you can mix and match weapons to create unique combat setups, from a classic sword and shield to dual-wielding different weapons with their own abilities. I hope this adds some exciting flexibility to your RPG game. Don't forget to check out the roadmap I've created for the project. There's a lot more in store. The link is in the description. If there's any other combat mechanic or feature you'd like to see, whether it's from iconic games like The Witcher, God of War, or anything else, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments. I'm always looking to add new ideas to the project. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.